What up, everybody? Welcome to the Stay Faithful podcast on a Monday night, a Victory Monday. Joining me is my big homie, Mr. David McNider. David, how you doing, man?
I'm good. You know, a win's a win. You know, it's
gotta win. Exactly.
Don't matter if it's 1 point or 40 points. A win's a win.
Exactly. Hey, remember a few weeks ago, the Cardinals beat us by 1 point.
Oh my
You think
God.
they mind?
And the Rams beat us by 3, and the Vikings that beat us by 6 before that. You know, it's all
exactly
losing them one-score games. You know, it's like, what's going on?
A win?
Here, you know,
it doesn't matter, and all games aren't pretty. Sometimes you win ugly, and you know, championship teams.
Definitely an ugly win. Yes,
definitely. It was definitely ugly. So wait, hold on a minute. Let me shout out to the chat. Throwbacks in the house. What's going on? Red Jet Shell. Thank you, Shell. You know you my homie. John Jay's in the house. What's going on? Thank you, everybody, for being here. And we got to add to the stage, Mr. Bryant Colt. BC's in the house. What's going on, Bryant?
Sorry, guys.
It's all good. We just started, man. Just started. How you doing, buddy?
Well, we won, so I feel pretty
good. Victory Monday. Hey, life is good. 2-game winning streak. Everyone should be feeling good. You know,
Victory Monday, and folks, whose channel are we on now? I'm not the bad luck guy. Okay.
Next week will be Victory Monday again on your channel. Don't worry. This is the start of the run. Let's do it.
I hope so.
Yeah, at the end of the season, people don't look back and say, "Oh, you know, that was a very narrow victory," or "Oh, wow." They just look to see if you won or lost. You know, some games get into detail, but for the most part, it's about winning or losing. Man, a win's a win.
A win. Listen. These years that we have gone to the NFC Championship game and the 2 Super Bowl run years, if you look in those years, there have been ugly victories. It has not been clean. It has not looked great, right? But we managed to win. That's all that counts. At the end of the day, is getting it done. So everyone should be happy, you know? Bryant, we haven't been there in a while, man. Let me get your thoughts on the game overall.
Defense played really well. We do need to have a little bit more maybe corner help. I'd like to see us have a little bit maybe more stickiness, if that's a good analogy. Mm-hmm. I want our corners to be closer to the wide receivers. They play it off, too far off for me. I know they play on too much, then they'll give you like pass interference calls and stuff like that. But some teams, it seems like they have maybe more contested catches. We seem to give up easy passes. And if it was maybe, I don't know, there was a lot of good passes yesterday. Baker Mayfield threw to people right between the numbers. And if you there's a quarterback joke. If you throw it to their numbers, they're supposed to catch it, right? You call it their red basket, right? But that's not really where you want to throw the football to. You want to throw it at someone's face, because what's the first thing that they're going to do? They're going to reach up and try to grab it, so it doesn't hit their face. But no, ideally you want to throw it to where the player's numbers are, their chest, and they're supposed to catch it. Now, if they don't, then it usually hits their chest pads and bounces off or whatever. But that's the sweet spot, the bread basket. So I seen a lot of that, like at the end of the game with Baker, and I thought, well, if our guys were a little bit tighter, then maybe that would have been more of a contested pass. But we just got lucky because they dropped it, or they didn't get to the ball. I think defense did really well. I think we need another linebacker. I really think we need another linebacker. Fred's great, but I don't know who's on the other side. It just doesn't seem like we have anybody, right? And then as far as the offense seems to be okay. Okay. But
exactly.
It doesn't seem to be right. Garenda seems to be great, right? But for some reason, somebody's telling him not to score. I don't know why they're telling him not to score. And
well, just focus on yesterday's game.
But so that's like the whole thing. Like it's like we have running backs that seem to be really good, but they're not being utilized. And then like with Jordan Mason, I know he had a shoulder injury, so I don't know if it's still like a nagging injury because it didn't seem like he was anywhere on the field yesterday. And when he was, it seemed like he was. I thought he did well. I thought he got like 2 carries, if I'm correct, but I could be wrong. And then to rush CMC in, and that's my kind of my point, to rush CMC back into the lineup when Garindo's doing really good, except it seems like when he gets down to the red zone, where the whole offense seems to have a problem scoring, who's telling these guys not to score? Because it seems like we can drive the ball down the field, but when we get into the red zone, we're trying to settle for field goals. And that's a whole other subject. So, well, I guess special teams, I'm not very happy. I got my Jake Moody jersey on because, I still believe, but there's only so much believing. The guy's got to go out and put it up too, So that's my thoughts, Ty. Thank you.
All right. No problem. No one's not telling Garindo to score. He's trying to finish the game with the offense on the field, though. That's playing head-up football, smart, heady football. So we got to give the young man credit for doing that.
Let's go back. Didn't he go down? And then the next thing that happened, Juszczyk comes in and scores, and that was right after a certain commentator, reporter.
Yeah, that was in Seattle. Yes,
that's kind of like either that was a team victory or a team statement. And then it seems like it's happened a couple other times where
only happened one other time against Dallas. It has.
I just believe the guy's got a lot more, and somebody's telling him to hold back, and I don't understand why he's holding back.
Because he punched it in during Dallas too, if you remember. He did have a rushing touchdown. He punched it in. He went down at the very
right
to run out the clock and leave it with the offense on the field. You leave no doubt if your offense can just go into victory formation and take a knee. That is smart heads-up football by him. Yeah. Juice is just being selfish in Seattle. But go ahead, David. Jump in there.
So, I think yesterday's game could have went better. The defense, at first it was being reported that they allowed 212. Now I'm looking at the revised stats here. 215 total yards. We did allow 110 yards rushing, right? Yep. Only 105 yards passing. Holy moly!
Yep. And to Bryant's point,
the defense
had we not been playing so loose, we could have gave up less yards passing. So that's something Sorensen needs to work on because he gave up a lot of easy passes with those loose defensive calls. But go ahead, continue. Yeah.
Well, the whole season, everyone's like, "Oh, Sorensen's a problem." I said early, just like D'Amico Ryans, you got to give him a bit to get going here. Like, and then they kept saying the defense. The whole season, it's kind of like, is the defense the problem? I really don't think so. Our special teams has been, an issue all year, and yes. We'll probably get to that, muff punt that I didn't see before me and Bryant went live yesterday in a minute, right? I watched the replay. I always watch the replay multiple times because, sometimes you got to go use the restroom and you miss something.
Yep.
But, special teams is still, pretty bad. Jake Moody, yeah, he missed 3 field goals. Everybody has a bad game, folks.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody has a bad game. Like, Debo in the Super Bowl. Yeah. He had a bad game, right?
Hey, maybe he should have locked in.
Maybe. But
what up, Papa J?
But he hit the one that matters, the one at the end, And folks, there is no stat column for barely made it. You either make it or you miss it. There's no stat column for barely made it. Just saying.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. We talked about off air the Lions game last night. They kicked 2 field goals at the end. I don't hear anyone saying that they barely went in because they were right next to the goalpost, right? Everybody's just saying he made it. That's it.
Hey, that last one was this far, folks. This far.
Exactly.
From doinking.
Exactly.
But it would have doinked in though if it hit the right side of the pole.
Yeah, because it would have been on the inside.
The left side of the pole. But you know, but either way, you know, Moody's kicking 6 field goals, you know, and this is a problem. This is a problem. About it. The problem we've had all season. And I didn't actually look at the stats until the Debo Tabor Pepper Moody incident. So we are ranked 29th in the league in red zone success at 47.41%. Yesterday's game, we were 33.33%. So we were even worse than that. And, you know, 6 kicks. Say they score those touchdowns. We're literally beating Tampa Bay like 50-something to 20.
Yep.
If they score those touchdowns. You know, I'm not saying that it's going to happen all the time, but last year we were around 74% success rate.
Well,
so we kind of need to get back to that.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just overall, I agree with you guys. I thought the defense played well. They had their spurts in the second half where they let some things happen. And I think it's just because they were on the field too much and they had short fields at times because of the missed field goals. Some very short fields. But they still held up, right? They didn't allow touchdowns. They were giving up field goals, which is good. That's what you want. You want your defense to hold up in adversity. And they did make plays at the end. The offense, Bryant, I echo your sentiment exactly. It's just okay. That's all it is. It's nothing spectacular. Every now and then you get a spectacular play, but for 60 minutes, it's just okay. Nothing to write home about at all. And coming off of a bye, that's very worrisome for me. Like I expected a much better performance. And special teams is going to special team. They've been that way all year. And I'm not talking about the Moody misses. Yeah, he missed 3, but he also made 3. Like 50-50. And, you know, him missing from 49 and 50. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Like, way to go, that okay offense, you know, setting your kicker up. But that's either that. But the Darrell Luter thing just, it was like, okay, he was the guy in the Super Bowl that caused the muff. And here he is again. It's like, oh, dude.
He's getting pushed back into the guy, though, right?
I understand that.
So it's like, bro, if you're having these kind of issues, we got this guy on the offense that will block the living crap out of someone and then laugh at him. His name is George Kittle. Another guy that could help you out is a guy named John Jennings. They can show you how to get leverage and block a guy properly.
But even beside that, you need some type of awareness of where your return man is, everything, and to get away from the ball and to listen for calls like they do when you're returning a kick. You do like yell out calls to let people know, like, get away from the ball, fire, whatever the call is. So you got to be heads up about that and get away. That cost us a touchdown. Go ahead, Bryant.
That's where I don't blame the guy who was blocking necessarily. I blame the returner, because the returner, in my opinion, should have gotten away from the ball at that time and let it go. It was a punt. It was not a kickoff. It's a kickoff. It's live. You know, if it's a punt, that means that, you know, the defense team will down the ball. You know, the kicking team will down the ball when they touch it. It's not going to be a turnover. But if we touch it, then it can be a change of possession. And that's where, I watched it a couple times and I've seen where he got blocked into it, but I don't see where we touched the ball. And I need to go back and like really look at it. But I know that's what the reaction was. And then they get the ball. And I'm like, it doesn't seem to me fair, because if you look at it, he got blocked into the other guy. And then somehow we didn't. So where was that not a penalty? That, I'm like, they throw penalties for everything else, but they don't throw a penalty for that. You would have thought that would have been. So I'm not very happy with that at all, because one, you should have been the kicker, the receiving man, and been like, okay, I'm not going to be able to make this play. I need to get back, or call a signal like what you were just saying, alert, fire. There's so many different words that they could have said. And then the other guy, again, dude, Super Bowl, and you're still on the team, and now you're making the same mistake. You're going to be like Jake Moody, and you might not be on the team here soon. So you're special. You're on the special teams for a reason, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, Cowing was going for a fair catch. So I see why he didn't get out the way, because he was getting under it to fair catch it. And they did have an angle where it hit his left hand on the way down. So there was the touch. But everything else you mentioned is spot on. Like, there should have been a call, fair catch, something. Luter should have been aware, like, okay, I need to get out the way, do something. I don't know. And he was blocked into him. And the refs is a whole different story, because there were some calls in the second half where it was like, what are you looking at?
Yeah.
Are you serious? But we know refs going to ref. Like, the officiating has been bad all season long. So, what can you do? So I want to talk about CMC's return, his return, how he looked, and what do you think of his usage? David, take the lead on this one.
I kind of feel like we have these two running backs who have earned the right to be on the field too.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if Kyle's just kind of leaving it up to him again. If you leave it up to the man, he's not going to take himself out. So it's time to, step up. And I kind of think right off the bat, he was used quite a bit. We only had 75 yards rushing for the game, though.
Yeah.
And I mean, CMC was 39 of those. He only averaged 3 yards a rush, so that they were on it. Jordan Mason got 1 carry for 5 yards. Garendo got 1 carry and got stuffed.
Yep.
But when it comes down to it, he also had 68 yards catching the ball on check downs, 11.3, 6 catches, 68 yards, 11.3. That's pretty good from being checked down.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like he's not the only guy that could catch the ball out of the backfield, though. We do have these 2 other running backs.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to see
doing it all season
out
long,
there.
right? Yeah.
It'd be nice to see Garendo with the size and speed out there in space.
That's where I disagree really quickly is we are not using the other 2 running backs like CMC. We're not seeing Mason catch out of the backfield or Garendo. They've been power backs basically the entire time. So that's where our offense hasn't had the dynamic. That's where we're missing CMC, because we don't have that check down or security blanket. That's where CMC, if he would have been utilized correctly yesterday, he should have only been used as a passing back and still got Mason and Garendo in there as running backs, but we kind of went away from that. And I think that was our problem.
Kyle was going to lean on CMC at some point. It's what he does. It seems like the offense is built around him. And now that he had that guy back, he left him out there. I mean, we didn't see any Mason or Garendo, and I think it's a shame that they didn't touch the ball, as much as they should have.
It is. But so CMC, he had 19 touches for 107 yards.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a successful return.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. The other guys, Debo had 3 rushes for 14 yards. Brock Purdy, it says 4 for 17. I kind of doubt all those were QB runs, though.
Scrambles.
I'll say,
him. They're scrambles.
Three of them probably were.
Yeah. We don't have really designed QB runs for him. They're all scramble plays.
Dang, man. That means we literally passed the ball. There were like 39 to 40 pass plays called in this game.
Yeah, if you look at Brock's numbers. Yeah.
25 of 36, 353 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're chucking the ball. I like that he only got, even though he was on the field the whole day talking about CMC, the touches were limited. It wasn't, let's give him the ball on 25 runs and, get him out there catching 6 to 10 passes. It was limited. So not to wear him down in his first action, because we know Kyle can do that. Like, just give the ball to CMC, just use him up. So I'm happy that it was limited, but unhappy that the other backs didn't get run. Like Bryant, you said, we've been using that power run with them. Like, put them in there to run some power. They were good at it. They've held us down for 9 weeks. And this was my fear, that CMC would come back and all of a sudden Kyle would just put them guys on the shelf. Like, I don't even recognize you guys anymore. Like, to me, that's a shame, because I want to see them continue to grow and develop, because we may need them down the road. And I don't want to see that development stifled. Oh, you're muted, buddy.
Oh, you're muted.
I'm so sorry. It's like we're trying to run with, and maybe I'm throwing out too many numbers, but it's almost like we're trying to run with an offense with 2 tight ends, 2 passing tight ends, and that we don't have 2 passing tight ends. It's like we're trying to run with an offense with 4 wide receivers, and we don't have 4 wide receivers. We might be lucky to have 1.5 wide receivers, to be honest. So to not have 2 running backs out there, one that's actually a full-time running back, and now that we have CMC, and to use him more as a wide receiver instead of, or more of a scat back, someone we can dump the ball off to, and still utilize Juice Check, because Juice Check is potentially a tight end / running back, but we're not using those guys to that, and it's like, again, we don't have 4 wide receivers right now. We have maybe 1.5 on a good day, and we don't know when Debo's coming to play. We don't know when Juwan Jennings came back to this game healthy, right? And he was probably our leading receiver.
He was.
So he got lucky with that 1 catch, but did he do anything the rest of the game? George Kittle, great. He had 2 big catches, but did he do anything the rest of the game? So we had Brock out there throwing the ball around like he was Aaron Rodgers, and we don't have the players to do that with. So I don't understand why we're running the offense we're running, or utilizing our players the way they are. If we're trying to keep CMC healthy for the rest of the season, then we shouldn't run him into the ground and, use him as a focal point. And I see us having other players, and we're not utilizing them. And it's not because they don't know what to do anymore. We can't say, oh, well, they don't know how to block, or they don't know how to do this. It's something's not right. It really is. So I'm looking forward to the next game. We're playing Seattle. Maybe that'll help get us back to 49er football.
Well, so Jennings had 7 catches for 93 yards. He was our leading receiver. Ricky Purcell, 4 catches for 73 yards and a touchdown.
Mm-hmm. The big.
He actually has that's very similar to what IU kind of did last year, because 18.2 per catch. But, you got Christian McCaffrey, 6 for 68, Debo, 5 for 62, and George Kittle only had 3 for 57, did have that touchdown.
Yeah.
Yep. Which was huge.
Well, each catch he had that one big catch, like in the middle of the game, and that kind of changed everything. And then he had the touchdown catch. And not trying to take anything away from him, but when we utilize Kittle, the offense moves. We get somewhere. It's like when we don't use him, he really has the ability. I was telling David yesterday, he can take over games, and see why we don't utilize him more. We shouldn't just throw him out there at the last resort like he's our wild card. No, let's use him. Let's use him.
Yeah, totally agree. And we talked about it before, and we're on the same page. Like, he should have a dedicated 6 to 10 targets a game, right?
Yeah,
like where he is the number one guy. This play is going to him no matter what, because like you said, he is a difference maker. He can change a game for you, and he's a matchup nightmare. And one thing that really like boggles me is that when we get down to the red zone, like, he should be like the number 1 or 2 option down there. Like, he's 6'5", 240, 250, big, strong, fast, definitely a red zone threat. And we've seen him when he is utilized down there, he makes plays. So, one way to instantly cure those red zone woes, let's draw up some plays for George Kittle. It's that simple. I don't get why, he doesn't get the amount of touches he should have on a weekly basis. That's something I hope someone can ask Kyle one day. And I'm not saying, make him the exclusive focal point of the offense. You want to get everyone else involved, but he should still have his dedicated amount of plays, because we know what he can do with the ball in his hands.
You script so many plays in the beginning of the game. I don't understand why they can't script 5 plays going to George Kittle. They can script 5 plays coming out of halftime to him as well. The guy is a big difference. He's energy. We seen what happened in the first Super Bowl. If that holding call wouldn't have happened, he had that big play. Since he's come on the team, back when C.J. Beathard and him first came on the team, when this regime started with Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. Yep. He's been, our number 1, our best player. And for him not to be utilized, like you said, Juice, I'm a big Juice fan. A lot of people know that. I think he's really good in the red zone. I think Jennings is really good in the red zone. I think Kittle is really good in the red zone. Sure, we all want to see Ayuk and we all want to see Debo score. But those guys have scored with paychecks and contracts already. Who continues to score on the field? Is the 3 guys I just said, Juice, Jennings, and Kittle. And we need to utilize those guys, because those guys are scoring on the field. They're putting up points, and it doesn't matter necessarily the contract. They're winning. And we need to get to a point where the 49ers don't care who's making what. Their contracts don't mean anything. It's about winning football games. And the ultimate goal is to win a championship game. A lot of people said it, and maybe we're jumping to the, I'm pushing it, but nobody goes up to Debo and says, hey, you dropped so many passes in the beginning of the game, get it together. And if they are, we're not seeing it during the game, right? Nobody did that to him during the Super Bowl. Ayuk, me and Brandon, me and David here, I joked about Brandon beginning of the year. He had less than 11 catches at one point in the season. And, I'm like, come on, we give you this big contract and you're not even, your jersey number has less. Come on, let's make it sense here, right? So at a certain point, it's like, you gotta put out, right? If you want to get paid, you gotta put out. It's not just about selling jerseys. It's about producing and winning a Super Bowl. And special players like kickers and long snappers and punters, they're supposed to do one thing. That's why they're a special player, right? But when you're a wide receiver and you're the number 1 wide receiver or number 2 wide receiver, or you just have a big contract, they're paying you for a big thing, right? And your job's still supposed to produce. And yesterday, David said the stats. Did Debo score yesterday? I didn't hear you say anything about a touchdown there. So
no, he hasn't had a receiving touchdown since week 1 versus the Jets.
So at the end of the
game,
wow,
I didn't even realize that. That is crazy.
At the end of the game, who won? It doesn't matter how many kicks was missed. At the end of the game, who won? Right?
Who made the game-winning kick?
Right? Who won? So. like you can say what you want, but it is a team sport. There are 21 players, 53 players. They all have to utilize themselves, put themselves in the best position. And, I know they're brothers, family members, and Kyle said it. They'll all love each other today, whatever. But no, you don't want to see that on the sidelines. But I definitely don't see anybody going up to Debo and saying, hey, you dropped this or you fumbled this or that, because we all know he's had his moments too. So love you, Debo, Tayshaun. But everybody needs to produce, everybody. Lock in. Everyone should lock in, right?
Everybody needs
That's
to lock
right.
in.
Everyone should lock in.
That's right. That's a new term going forward. Lock in.
Lock in. We're gonna make sure.
I'm gonna be trolling Debo for the rest of the season now, though.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know it's coming. There's a lot of people going to be doing it. Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. All right. So, hey, what
Ooh, you know what?
does the
I was
offense
wrong.
need to do
Hold on a second.
to get on track? What were you wrong about? The numbers are the numbers.
The rushing touchdown was against the Jets. The receiving touchdown, he only has 2 on the season, folks, was against Seattle.
No, that's a good thing. We're playing Seattle.
I'm looking at his game log.
Maybe we can get one next week.
Ooh, 33%. Anyway, I'm looking at his targets versus catches. Well, let's not do that right now.
Yeah. So what needs to be done to fix the offense? Because it didn't look good, especially in the first half. It was just
Well, ultimately, we hit our averages a little bit is like 412 and a half yards a game. We hit 413. But we're talking the red zone here. What needs to happen? Typically, it's like it seems like George Kittle, you'll get a little bit of Juwan Jennings. What happened yesterday? Someone caught his first touchdown pass in the NFL. Ricky Purcell, right? Our new rookie wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Could be the shining, Ferrari that we need out there. We don't know. It's too early to tell. But it's nice to see him catching a receiving touchdown. And yes, we were in the red zone at that point, technically.
No.
You don't think?
No, it was like a 50-yard touchdown.
He caught a 46-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
Was it?
Remember, it was a pass from midfield.
Yeah, it was like 20.
That's right. That doesn't count towards our red zone positions. That makes it even worse.
No, that was a long touchdown.
Yeah, he ran 25 yard in.
Yeah.
It was good.
Man. But anyway, so this guy ain't looking bad, is what I'm saying.
He's looked good from game 1.
This is only game 2 right now.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens moving forward.
It's game 3.
This is only his second game, right?
3.
Is it?
It's his third game.
Is it his
I'm
third?
Sure it is. He played. Hold on. I'm totally forgetting the schedule right now.
I know he played the game before the bye.
That was against Dallas.
Yes.
And he played the game before that.
Did he play in the loss against the Chiefs?
Did he play against Arizona?
No.
Okay.
His first game was against the Chiefs.
Okay.
He played against the Chiefs. He played Dallas. This is game 3 for him.
All right.
Versus the Chiefs, he had 3 catches for 21 yards. That was his first game.
So, I'm just saying we could have something here. I'm not saying we do, because it's too early to tell.
Yeah, way too early. But I've been watching him out there, and he looks good. He's been showing the ability to get open, showed good hands. Not every ball thrown his way has been perfect. Like that touchdown pass, that was not a perfect ball. That was behind him. But he adjusted, caught it, maintained his balance, and took off. That was a great play by him.
And, our number 1 receiver, kind of like, in my opinion, is Juwan Jennings right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we do have Debo but Juwan Jennings, he's the guy that led us last game. There was a game Debo missed. He had 11 catches. I don't think he's actually leading the team in receptions and yards yet, but that probably will come at some point.
Yeah.
And it's, Debo, like, he's there. He's there. He makes a play. He makes a catch every now and again. It's not like he's not. But when it comes to our receiving core, it's pretty much Juwan Jennings, Debo, Ricky Purcell's coming along, but then it's the question marks. Ronnie Bell, Chris Conley. Jacob Cowing has potential. He has potential, right?
He has flashed when he's gotten his opportunities. It's just, will Kyle give him those opportunities? Will he get him on the field and then call his number? Like, we talked about the young running backs. Like, okay, Kyle has, a healthy Jennings back to go along with Debo, and now Ricky's there, and it's like, all right, well, Jacob Cowing, we can put you on the shelf again. It's like, there's a thing about using these young guys when he's got other guys, ahead of him, and I understand it, but you can work them in and give them plays.
Well, it's something I don't understand is Ricky Purcell's been back from injury for 3 weeks, right?
Yep.
Jacob Cowing's been with us the whole season.
They won. Yep.
and all this, and the first round pick is playing and he's not. It's like,
it's weird. I know.
I
don't get it either. Right. And if you look at like preseason, Jacob Cowing was there all through preseason. And you can argue like he was one of the best receivers we had during the preseason. Like he's worked his butt off and can't get on the field. We needed him versus KC, and he comes up with a big catch. He came up with a few other catches. It's like he's shown the ability to play.
Yes.
Hey, I don't know your guys. I know a little bit about you guys, but I don't know everything, and no one here watching knows everything about anyone's life either. We live humble lives, and we try to keep them as private as possible. But for some people, they don't have a normal work schedule, right? And with a football player or athlete, and this is my point, they don't have a normal work schedule either. But you kind of know when your game is coming on, and you do have a ability to say, hey, I'm getting sick or I'm not feeling good, right? Even if you're an athlete, like superstar player, the offense needs me, the team needs me, I have to be there. But we're talking about like chicken noodle soup stuff. This isn't Joe Montana. This isn't Notre Dame. This is a professional football team. These are players that can look at, like the coach and say, Kyle, because we're on first name basis, right? Kyle, I'm not feeling good. So why didn't they put somebody like we were just saying, like Ronnie Bell? I heard the Bell, or someone like Conley, who's been there this entire time since, the offseason, since preseason, who hasn't been hurt. And then to bring in somebody like Ricky Pearsall, who got shot, literally like shot through his body, basically, right? And we're going to put him on the field. He hasn't had the reps. He's not conditioned. He's not been running. He's not been doing the push-ups, the sit-ups. I mean, come on, guys. He's not like a X-Men here. He's not, a mutant. He doesn't have superhuman powers, right? This guy shouldn't be on the field when Conley is right there. And I'm saying his name wrong, but you guys know what I'm saying. This guy is healthy, right? So why are we putting somebody in on the field, or in the same situation? Why are we putting CMC in on the field when Guerrero is healthy? If Jordan Mason has a shoulder injury, I understand. Pull him out. CMC can come in. He can be that back burner guy, right? But you're telling me we only have 3 running backs? We only have 3 running backs. So again, my point is if you're hurt and you're not playing well, or you're sick, Debo, you've been sick multiple times. We had him sick last year before the playoffs. We've had him sick this year. Now, if you're sick, then are you going to give some money back on your contract? Or, I don't know how that breaks down either. It's not really my, Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, aren't you supposed to be there? Or, you know, like the game is what you're getting paid to be there, right? So is that why you didn't call in sick guys? I mean, like, I don't know. I think the best availability is your availability, right? So the best player on the field should be the healthy player, not the one who's, you know, oh man, you know, does anybody have a hanky? You know, I got to blow my nose before I go out there. And if you can't play, you can't play. If you're sick, you're sick, you know? So, I mean, like, I don't know. Some players, you know, and it's sad, you know, they lose family members and they have to take time off. And we don't ever want to hear that happen. We understand that happens. That's life. If you're sick, you can tell the coach, hey, I'm sick. But to go out there and try to play when there's another person who could play and could play a lot better than you, but you are like some superhuman or something like that, some superhero, but the ability that you have on the field and your, you know, like productivity doesn't add up to what that other player could have done. But the offense, runs through Debo? The offense runs through CMC? I think we need to have Kyle be a little bit more creative if that's the case, right?
Well, you're clearly referring to the Chiefs game when Debo was sick. And I don't believe he realized how sick he was, what his condition was. He probably went out there like, oh, I got a little bit of a cold, I got a little cough, but I'll be all right. Well, it turns out it was much worse. And it got worse, you know, as the day went on. And it happens. We all go through that. We get a little something, we feel a little way, and we're like, this is just X. I'm okay. But you feel worse as the day goes on. It happens. That's life. That's human. You know, I'm sure if he knew he had pneumonia, he wouldn't have shown up at all. But once again, you know, these guys are freaking football players. They're called gladiators for a reason. They tough things out. You know, they break bones, they break ribs and try to play through it. Steve Young, hello, you know, it is what it is. So I can't fault him for, you know, showing up to work, trying to do his job.
Yeah, the reports I heard with Debo, if he knew he was sick for 2 days and he tried to play the game. So if you're sick for so many days, I would assume like, hey, there's a certain point you should say the other guy should play. But if you are a gladiators by heart, we all want to see the best players out there on the field. And you don't want to be known as the guy that can't go when maybe you could go. But that's the problem with this team too. We have a lot of players that's trying to play through injury. And if we have such a great depth with the team, we have a lot of good players on the backside, but they don't ever seem to get a start because these starters are playing hurt all the time. I don't see where, you know, like we have that solid of a team. It's, you know, if we're only playing at 50% because our guys are hurt, what would we really be playing if we had like some of the second stringers playing at 100%?
But, you know, there's a difference between hurt and injured. It's that old saying, are you hurt or are you injured? If you're hurt, you can play through it. You can suck it up. We can give you a shot. You know, you'll feel no pain. You'll get through the game. That's football. It's been going on that way since the beginning. And, you know, guys will suck it up. They don't want to lose their job. They don't want anybody else coming in and getting shine, and they want to be out there.
Because you do. You lose your job to injury, don't you? It happens, doesn't
it? If you're well, it does happen. I ain't gonna say that. I was about to say if you're good enough, you don't, but that's not the case. We've seen guys, good guys get replaced too. Yeah. David, you all right there? You blinked out for a second.
I just had to get some water. You know, I was feeling kind of sick.
But you're playing through it. You're playing
That's
through
right.
it.
That's right. Yeah, Debo could just use some sick leave or something. You know, it's like
that's very true, Debo. Steve-O, you got me saying Debo. That's very true, Steve-O. Yeah, we see players lose their job to injury all the time. You know, it's that old saying, you're not supposed to, but it happens. Remember Alex Smith and Colin Kaepernick. Alex Smith was like the best quarterback in the league, the highest passer rating, all that stuff, stats through the roof. He goes down with a back injury, and Harbaugh says, I'm rolling with Cap for the rest of the season. There you go. You know,
well, you know, if the player, if you get injured and the player that, you know, is replacing you come in and he's just straight up lock in, then, you know, you're done, right?
That's right. That's the way it goes. You got to lock in.
Lock in. We're gonna make t-shirts.
Lock in show. All right. So how you guys see us doing against Seattle? We're on to Seattle. Right? Those darn Seahawks. They're coming to town.
We're gonna be all locked in. We're going in and
all 53.
No, I think if I could start it out, I think we're going to be doing okay. We understand the Seahawks a little bit. It's in San Francisco, if I'm correct. So we should have the home field advantage. I think the Seahawks right now, I think they have a little bit of an identity crisis going on with what they're trying to do. I think if the Niners can come out and play, what we wanted to do this game, control the clock, run the ball. We didn't really run the ball. It didn't seem like that's what we wanted to do. It seemed like we wanted to pass the ball. But if we can control the clock, I think the Niners will come through. And we seem to have been playing pretty well against Seattle. So I feel really confident against Seattle, especially this Seattle team. The Niners, I feel really confident about them. So special teams, we'll see how they but the offense and defense should be really solid against Seattle this week. Special teams for Seattle always gives us a problem. They always have a trick play, or they always do something where they swing the tide. So I do look for the Niners to try to have some kind of answer, not necessarily for Jake Moody field goal miss, but for like a fake, or some kind of thing that Seattle does on their special teams end, because we have to be a little bit more alert with the coverage. Something. Their linebacker.
They just
Elbeer.
who?
That's Elbit linebacker. David, how you see us doing against Seattle?
Gino, I'm confident against Seattle just because of Gino. But at the same time, you never know when those guys are going to stand. That's a divisional matchup, and you never know when those guys are going to stand up like the Cardinals did, like the Rams did. And I would feel a lot more confident if we could put the ball in the end zone early in the game and, get a lead and just let our defense pin their ears back, rush the passer, take some chances here and there,
Yeah, I agree with you. We've been doing well against Seattle. We're playing at home. That gives us a big boost. The Seattle's on a 2-game losing streak, and they've given up 26 points and I think 34 points respectively in those 2 games. So they haven't been playing well defensively. Gino hasn't been looking good offensively. So I think that bodes well for us. David, I'm in agreement with you. I want to see us put points on the board early. And by points, I don't mean field goals. Get the ball into the end zone. I don't know what's up with this team that they can't score touchdowns. You don't win championships if you can't score touchdowns. So we got to put the ball in the end zone. And like you said, put the points on the board early, put this team away early, and leave no doubt. Let's stop having these players linger. These teams linger around, and we got to fight like a dog at the end of the game to win it. Like, it shouldn't be that way. Or we shouldn't have to, go into halftime tied and have to come out in second half and be like, okay, now we're going to play football. No, start that way from the beginning. So I think we'll win. I think we'll be okay. I just want to see a much better effort, especially on the offensive side, from start to finish.
I do think there is something. Tony's really funny. She's awesome.
Hey, Tony. Tony Hope in the house.
She says the Niners need Benadryl before every game to prevent red zone
allergies. It's like they're allergic and they get in the red zone and they're allergic to it. Oh.
But me and her talk, and we were believers.
You do? That's nice.
We were believers in Jimmy G, right? We got a couple jerseys for the family, and I got one for the mother-in-law, and it was great, right? We believed the guy won 5 straight, and we were rolling, right? And Jimmy G, baby, right? Well, then the Super Bowl happened, and everybody started saying there's like something about that 10 points. And I think it goes back to what? Did it go back to Kyle Shanahan and the 28-3 or something like that? I don't know if that's where the 10 points started, but been a thing.
No.
There's been a thing with Kyle with 10 points. And we scored 10 points yesterday. We didn't score 14. We scored 10. And I think there's
on the first half.
Yeah, we got to start scoring touchdowns. We don't need to settle for 6 points, 9 points, 10 points. We need 14 points, 21 points. And we need to keep scoring. We don't need to keep – it goes back to – when was it? Was it 2010, 2009? The 49ers, all they could do was score field goals. We went almost the whole season without scoring a touchdown. It was in the middle of the season or almost the end of the season, and we finally scored a touchdown. And since then, we've really had some problems. We've had some really good kickers. We had David Akers. We've had Robbie Gould. We've had some good kickers since then, from other teams. Obviously, they weren't homegrown, but we've had some good kickers come our way. And, Chris Chandler, not Chris Chandler. I'm trying to think of his name. But we've had some really good kickers. And, now we have Robbie Gould, retires. We got Jake Moody now, and we're still having that 10-point issue. And it's, I don't think it's a kicker problem, because when you get to the red zone, you shouldn't be relying on the kicker to finish it's not supposed to be, we're going for the field goal. We're supposed to be going for the touchdown. We got a kicker who can kick 50 yards out, but we are supposed to be trying to score a touchdown. And what seems to be happening is we get down to like the 30-yard line and we get pushed back to like the 40, and then we stall. And then we have our kicker go out there, and he was injured, and there's no excuses. You're supposed to make the kick. But if you do go and look at his kicks, they weren't like all the way up into right, field. They weren't into the corners of the end zone. They were really close to going in. So, maybe that's some nerves, maybe that's some issues, but at the end of the game, you want it to go through the middle, not on the sides. And I totally get it. There's no excuses, but I do think when the Niners have 10 points on the board, a 10-point lead, or we're behind 10 points, we have a serious issue. It's like a mental block, and I think we need to be a little bit more aware of it. And I think they need to find a black cat to either become friends with, or they need to kind of figure out, like a lucky something. They need a rabbit's foot or something, but they need to get rid of this. They need to go to therapy or something, because the 10 points is seriously an issue, guys. And it's since
I don't think it's the 10-point thing. I know everyone wants to harp on that, but if you look at it, it's just been a few games where we've had a 10-point lead and have blown that lead. But I believe it's just simply like you said, we need to score points, touchdowns, put points on the board. It's hard to believe that a team with all the firepower that we have only scored 2 touchdowns in 60 minutes. 2. That's what bad teams do. That's what bad teams do. So they got to get it together. It's plain and simple. All right, fellas. This has been a great show. We got to wrap it up. We know people got things to do, and we have things to do. What do you guys got going on this week? Tell the folks.
Well, Corey Davis 49er Wednesdays, the Pick'em show for week 11. We'll be getting ready for the Seahawks coming up, Jackbox games Friday night. And then, Sunday morning I'll be doing the early pregame. I might have 2 pregames going on because Seahawks Eddie's not available till around high noon my time on Sunday. So might have 2 pregames going on Sunday.
Ooh, look at you. Fancy. BC, I know you're always busy. Thanks for jumping in tonight, man. Miss you. Love it when you can jump in and chat with us. It's always fun.
Yeah, I appreciate being able to jump on. As the schedule gets a little bit looser, I'll be able to come on more and more. I really appreciate all of the, you guys being able to be as you guys are. You guys are great co-hosts, great guys, great friends.
Yeah,
looking forward to the Niners hopefully being able to stay on track and keep moving forward. As far as my channel is going, the same thing. Just keep looking out. I'll pop in there, here and there. On the weekends, if I'm lucky, I'll try to do a show with David. The sky's is always open, and that's really the limit, right? You never know what's going to happen. So, guys, thank you again. Go Niners. Keep the good spirits going, because you don't want to get down on the team. Then you don't have really reason to get up on it, right? So just stay optimistic.
And we want it's Victory Monday. We can enjoy Victory Week. So stay faithful, everybody. David, take us home.
That's right. Hey, it's Go Niners, and as Corey Davis says, F all 31 other teams.
Yeah. See ya.